is Shaniel Myrie, a junior political science major from Inglewood, California, and I'm here to briefly talk about the Louisiana slave trade database. Um, on the board here, I chose 5 different characteristics or categories to display my data. Some of the categories that I chose, or the 5 categories that I chose, were race, origin, sex, Af-region, and runaway. Race basically talks about the race of the slaves, and some of those races include Indian, Black, Mulatto, Quadroon, and Octroon. And I also talked about, which is displayed right here, the origin of the slaves. And it told us that some slaves were from the Caribbean, some slaves were from Africa, some slaves were Indian, and some slaves were Creoles. And the third chart talks about runaways, and this chart basically displays slaves that has runaway, which is the most. It talks about slaves that consorted with runaways, and then it also talks about slaves that basically complained about the runaways. This chart here talks about the sex of the slaves, which includes male or female, and it shows that most slaves were male over female, and that's understandable because males are considered to be stronger, and I'm sure that the slave owners wanted that so they can get more of the hard labor, the labor-intensive work done maybe a little bit quicker. And also, the final chart that I talk about, or that I displayed, was Af-region, and this displays the regions that the slaves were from, and that included Sierra Leone, Senegambia, the Golden Coast, and other places as well. This was all very interesting, and one thing that I found out that really stuck to me was a lot of slaves were not accounted for, and that's because they were not recorded. So where they were from, their region, or their origin was not really written down or really not recorded at that time. So a lot of slaves, we don't really know where they're from. And right now we know that most slaves are from Africa, but it makes me wonder, if we knew if all of those slaves were accounted for, would most of the slaves be from Africa? So that's an interesting question. I think it still would be yes, of course. So thank you very much for watching.